Well, good day, friends. I hope you're doing well. I'm Franky, and this is the Think Tank. So, the reason I jumped back on is the private driver for Maddi and Kaylee has actually come out and done an interview. So, I found what he had to say fairly interesting, so I thought you might as well. So, here we go. Yes. Is everyone ready for Christmas? I think we are. Okay, so it says here, my job was to get these girls home safe. The driver who drove Idaho roommates Kaylee and Madison home hours before they were unalived says he is haunted by his role in delivering them to their deaths. So this is the first time that he's come out and spoke. He is not feeling very good about him being the last one that basically seen these girls. And I mean, this is no fault of his own. It's just tragic. So let's go through this really quick here. And it says the driver who took the two University of Idaho students and took them home the night they were unalived has broken his silence. And he speaks about how haunted he is by the knowledge that his job was to get them home safe, but instead delivered them to their unalivings. Can you imagine? Oh. So speaking for the first time and exclusively to Daily Mail, the private taxi driver, who was probably the last person to see the girls, said, "It weighs on me. I've replayed this night over and over a million times." And thinking back, was there any kind of sign or details that he missed? But no, I mean, they seemed fine. He said, "It's not lost on me that my job was to get these girls home safe, but that didn't help this time." I love this picture of these two. And then, of course, we've seen this one lots, the four of them. So it's approaching 6 weeks since Kaylee and Madison were both unalived, along with their roommate, Xana, and her boyfriend, Ethan. So we do know that this was, in the early hours of November 13th, and that there was 2 on the second floor and 2 on the third floor. It's the shocking killings that marked the first unalivings in Moscow in 7 years. And sadly, right now, there are no leads that have been shared, nor has there been any suspects named. The police department's investigators' ability to handle the crime of such magnitude has come into question. So today, the man who drove both Kaylee and Madison home told his story and what he could recall of the night that basically started this entire area of living in fear. Speaking on the condition that he stayed anonymous, he said, "I'd known Kaylee and Maddi and Xana as well. They would occasionally get rides home, and there was nothing out of the ordinary that night." They look like they're having such a great time. Here they are again. And this is John Jack back there, right? John Jack. And we've seen this quite a few times. So this is when they were at the grub truck. And this is their home over here, about 1.2 miles. The girls are unalived between 3 and 4 a.m. Surveillance footage of Kaylee and Madison showed that the girls were picking up pasta at the grub truck right around 1:40 a.m. And that was after their night of, they were at the Corner Club bar, which is located just in downtown Moscow, not far from where that grub truck was. So it says that he picked them up about 1:40 or 1:45 a.m. They had food with them, and they were super excited to eat their mac and cheese. So he said that they sat in the back, they visited, and it seemed like it was just a normal night. They didn't seem upset about anything, and they didn't talk about anyone. The driver said he was familiar with the surveillance footage in which one of the girls appears to be talking about someone named Adam, and he said that that name was not mentioned or any other boy, he said, on that ride. Moscow police have contacted Adam, and they say, and very actually interesting wording, cooperating with their investigation. Usually what they say is that they are not suspects at this time. So this is the first time they've said anything along cooperating with their investigation. So I'm not sure if that means anything or not. I just find it interesting. He said that sometimes the girls would talk about boys, but that night they were just excited about their food. There was no apprehension, no strange feeling. No one seemed upset, and no one seemed nervous. They didn't seem to be afraid of anybody, and there didn't seem to be anyone following them or following the driver. There was absolutely nothing about that ride that was different or abnormal. He said they were typical sorority girls talking away, and half the time they don't pay a whole lot of attention to the drivers. They just do their thing. So the driver said that he didn't pull right up to the door, and instead he said that it stopped on the street. And he also said, I just sort of pulled in front of the driveway. I did not pull right into the parking lot. I usually try not to do that because that's an easy way to get, robbed. I try to stay in position where I can go either direction so I can get away if I have to. It's never happened, but you do hear about things like this. He said on that night, he neither felt nor seen any kind of threat. He said, as a matter of fact, he did not even watch them go all the way to the house. He said it was just the two of them, and it's always been safe. Sometimes I absolutely will ask or intervene if I feel that a kid needs help. He also said that he's taken some kids to go get their stomachs pumped, and that in a college town, they just try to live their lives, and the drivers try to look out for them. He said that night in particular, that within a couple of hours of making that drop off, he said it weighed on him. He said that he's been driving for years, and for him to think that he was one of the last people to see them alive was distressing. When I seen the news on Monday, he said, I was in that neighborhood, but that was the day before they released any names. As soon as I knew for sure it was the girls, I went to the police station. Just beautiful, beautiful girls too, right? Ethan and Xana. He said that he did talk to law enforcement and that he was eliminated, and provided the officers with a bunch of digital information and a receipt from a Taco Bell that he went to after taking the girls home. He said that he's a little bit worried about the little information being shared by law enforcement and understands why families are impatient. He said he took about a week off and just kind of stood back and took a look at the situation. And not the best feeling, right? He just said the kids deserve justice. So, which is 100% related to how they aren't communicating with the community. People are scared. And sadly, it's saying in here that most of the town and area have very little faith in the MPD. He doesn't think that they're qualified. and does believe that they are grasping at straws. Some Moscow police have pushed back at the suggestion that inexperienced officers, the lead investigator, has only been a cop for 2 years. And people are saying that it is not a help to the already kind of messed up investigation. There's been so many mistakes. The most recent one is, in my mind, them going and picking up Kaylee's car. They took these vehicles away from that house and took them to an impound lot and left them there, which means that these vehicles, anything that was on the outside as far as evidence, would now be considered, no, it wouldn't be reliable. And on top of that, with the weather's been, we have even any kind of DNA even of stayed on the vehicle with the snow and the melting. And yeah, there's definitely been some mistakes in my opinion. So let's see here. We do know that the Idaho government, Brad Little, directed up to about $1 million to help with this investigation. And they are saying that the MPD has shared concerns, parties that they have eliminated from their inquiries, including the driver, the 2 surviving roommates, that hooded male, which we know as John Jack, the male that they called numerous times, which we all believe to be Jack D, and anyone that was present when that 911 call was called. And they also are not worried about the 6th person that was on the lease, because by the sounds of things, she moved out like before the school year even started. So Police Chief Jeff Fry defended the investigation and said to News Nation on Thursday that he said the investigation have been handled properly. So, I mean, yeah, it makes sense that he would say that, right? We secured the scene very quickly. We called in the stadies. We did our due diligence in getting the things that they needed to go on and have this to be a solid case all the way through. I really hope that's the way. I hope it is that way. You know, it is a little bit concerning. So yeah, let's just hope that they're keeping things close to the vest. So we called in the state lab to collect evidence, and it says that he believed it was the initial stuff that they started and how they did things that will help bring this to a conclusion. He did say that he thinks there's some misconception on how they operate there in Moscow. He said, we've called it the ATF in the past, we've called in the FBI, and many other resources. And he also said, and we want to have the best investigators here. We're continuing the investigation and continuing to push on. And he said he is very confident that they will have a conclusion to this as things develop. They are conducting many interviews still, and they're putting pieces together. He said there's a lot. You know, like when you think about it, you think about the what that scene was supposed to look like. I don't think it would be easy to gather everything that they need, especially we know that that was a party house. Lots of people were in it. And we even see that one party where none of the girls were home, but there was this massive party happening in their house. So can you imagine the DNA that's in there? So it is saying that earlier this week, Shannon Gray, the attorney that's representing Kaylee's family, said the family is increasingly frustrated with the apparent lack of progress. And he also said that he wanted to let them know that they are holding them accountable for the choices that they make. And for their heads, he said that they need to turn the investigation over to someone that is more versed in handling this type of case. So I thought that was interesting. And I thought I would share that with you. It just kind of came out of the blue. I was like, whoa, okay. I did not expect to see that guy come out. I thought he was going to stay home and hide, which, you know what, there's a lot of people doing. Look at that. I mean, as we know, social media can be like ignorant. And it does sound like right now that mainstream media isn't behaving any better than some of the online sleuths. But like I say, with that said, there are plenty of really, really good, both mainstream and the internet sleuths. So just a couple bad apples. Just too bad they have to stand out like they do, right? Okay, guys. Well, thank you very much for being here with me. I will keep my eyes peeled, see if anything else comes out on any of these cases. And thank you once again for being with me. I appreciate you all, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.